This is day 446 of Arukh HaShulchan. Say Arukh HaShulchan is still in Shin Aleph, of course, as it will be for some time to come. Today we're doing Lamed Beis to Mem. If you would like to sponsor an upcoming Shir of the Arukh HaShulchan or more, please contact me directly. It'd be very greatly appreciated. Lamed Beis. Kol Shem She's Bar Ein Mela B'Motzi Stam. All the Shem is speaking about are only where you take out something without any specific intent. So for each thing we need for it to, as is defined by whatever makes it suitable for its purpose at a minimum according to its specific shear. But somebody takes something out for planting or for healing, or to take something out for to show a sample, etc. He's chayiv even if it's a smallest amount. Because for these specific purposes, any amount is sufficient. And not only if you took them out now specifically in order to accomplish these ends. I feel it's near but even if you hid something, I shouldn't say hid, if you safe kept something, for planting or for healing, or for a sample, you forgot that you put it there years ago for that purpose. About time you took it out without any specific intent. You're liable even for a kosher. Because we assume that you take it out with the intent which you originally had. In other words, since unless you were mevatel, that machshava lasts. If you forgot, that's temporary. You're going to remember later on. But that's only if you specifically safe kept it for that purpose. But that's subjective. Any other person is not chayiv on it, unless they take out the standard shear. My thought cannot make you chayiv. If you and even if somebody already, the person who safe kept it for this purpose, took out this amount and was chayiv as a result, unless somebody else takes it out immediately after him, he's not liable because for him it's not a shear. Even this person himself, if he reneged on his first thought, and negated it from that purpose for which he originally thought it, for one of these purposes, even didn't negate it explicitly. He just tossed this back into his stockpile after he took it out without any intent the second time around. Even though its place is recognizable when you put it back in its place, his first thought is already gone because that purpose is already accomplished. Because he did not do a maisa to make it into this specific thing. He just had a thought. And machshava tossing it now back without any new continued intent is a mevatel original machshava. So therefore he takes it again. He's not liable unless he takes out the shear. There's another principle which is said about Tzah. Anything which is suitable to be safe kept. And people safe keep things like this. And somebody else takes that on Shabbos, he's liable to chatos. If he did a b'shor geg, obviously chorus or a skila, if he did it amazing. This is what it means. Anything which is suitable to safekeeping. In other words, something which serves people. And people do safekeep these things like this. This amount is something which is worthy of safekeeping. So everybody is liable for that, even if the very rich person for whom this is not significant, that's low cloud, nevertheless he's chayiv. Something which is not normally safe kept. But people don't normally safekeep it in this measure. And only one person to him became precious and he safe kept it. Adam Sechayev, he's liable. Everybody else is exempt. What is this example of something which nobody safe keeps even a large amount? First, Gemara explains, such as blood which came from a woman who's nida. Avgav the matzlu, even though you specifically are keeping it to feed it to a cat. Or let's say share or wood from an ashera tree, a tree which was wished of a Zora. Even though there's a mitzvah to remove them and eradicate them, nevertheless not called something which people keep. Therefore, nobody else is liable except for that person who actually was safekeeping it for his cap, or that person was safekeeping it in order to remove it, in order to destroy it. Husham goes about you are chayav, eladein okay, but it's not true according to our shas, as he wrote there. Lamadal, hamotzi chatzi shir pot. If you take out half of a shear, you're exempt. Chen kol asem malachim min halachas chatzi shir pot. If you do any malacha after the shear on Shabbos, you're exempt. The davar is potter of aser. Remember, the davar yedosh kol potter Shabbos potter of aser, as it says here. Anything which is potter on Shabbos is potter, but still aser. Lo dami chatzi shir dal amos mutagam lechatchila. There is, however, half a shear of 4 amos, carrying something 4 amos. We're allowed to carry something 2 amos, and we're just robbing even. Even deliberately. Tosam lo chazi tzuvik when Simon Simon Reish and base Sif Lamed Hey, because there after you stop after you stop, it's not mitzaref anymore. That mitzvah is over. Mashen chatzi shir chatzi tzuvik, but you take half a shir, it's suitable to join up and combine with a second part of the mitzvah. For example, behelei machas, right? The kfar be'arosh tam lechatzi shir l'chol malachos levar otzah. And we explained that in all the malachas, besides Otzah, are all Asa Daraisa, except for Otzah. The Dovs and Furish Barashi is split in Rashi, but Tosefta Beitza, the Furish Chatishir, B'Shabbos, Einel Mishum Shvus, Ayin Shabbat Tzarki. Because the Tosefta seems to say that any Chatishir on Shabbos is only as the Rabbanon, not a Daraisa, and the Arukh HaShulchan says that's difficult. Lamed Hey. Hamo Chatishir B'Nicho. You took out half a shear. He put it down because of its chatzis, and they took another half shear. Chayav, you're liable. Vim kadam b'gbia chatzis rishon. However, if you pick up the first one, before you put down the second one, nasikim in shenisra, but as if it got burnt up. In other words, that ma'isa is completed and done and out of commission. It's as if it was burned up and you're exempt. Oti chatzi shir, if you took out half a shir, menicho, you put it down because of oti chatzi shir acher, and you took another half a shir, you transferred it over the first one, but took shlosha tvachim, within 3 tvachim to it, chayet. Abi shlo niach, even though you didn't put it down. The whole pachas mishlosh galavadami. Anytime it's less than 3 away, it's as if it's connected to that thing on the ground, which is a very big chiddush. I don't remember this from the Gemara, but I guess it's there, even though I don't remember it. The mavir ain't tzorech hanocha mashu, and when you're transferring it over the top, he doesn't have to rest on anything. Kemish oches biyodos, since you're holding it in your hand, have a kanocha gabi mashu. The hanocha in your hand is like the hanocha on a place which is 4 by 4 tvachim, which is the normal requirement for hanocha. Zorek derech halav b'tov shlosha chayev. But therefore, rock. So that's only if you're holding it in your hand. But if you toss it and it goes less than 3 tefachim above the chatzi shir, which is on the ground or on paper or whatever, you're potter, because there's no hanacha for the second thing. Uvlavachi potter, so there's no hanacha on of this thing which is tossed, or by that thing which is on the table, or on the ground, I should say. You are potter. And it's not similar to transferring something by hand. Can't pass go around Mamsham. Mariyesh b'zepslukta the Rava. I'm sorry. Mariyesh said plukta. The Rava's sphere, I don't think it's Machatz Shir though. I think it's just a regular machlokas. The Rava's sphere the Tok Shlosh Chanich Anachal Gavi Mashu. Even if it's in 3 tvachim on the ground, it's not up, it needs to be put on something. That it's once it's within 3 tvachim of the ground, that suffices. Which means that it has to actually be stationary on something. No, the other way around. Rava holds that it has to be stationary on something. Chilka argues on him and says as long as it doesn't fall on the ground, that's considered to be Hanocha. The Rambam paskins like Rava that it has to be Hanocha of some sort. Rabbi Yochanan the Ramban paskin like Rav Chilka. Lamed Vav. Oti Chatzi Shir, we took out half a shear. Because Oti Chatzi Shir, we took out another half a shear, Behelim Echad, one period of forgetfulness. Chayev. B'shteim is a 2 period forgetfulness, says, Potter, you're exempt. You can't aim from a korban, of course. Behelim Echad Chayev, I feel lo you alem Shabbos. And if a Behelim Echad, you're liable even if the forgetfulness was not of the two, each half was different. Kigon, for example, Shachas Yisab Shabbos, in the first period of forgetfulness, you knew it was Shabbos, forgot the Melachos were forbidden. And the other one, you knew Melachos were forbidden, but forgot it was Shabbos. Nevertheless, that's still considered to be Helam Echad, unless there was Yediyah Bein Asayim. Kvar B'yanos Ebesim Reish Men Beis, see Yutes, B'sham Huli Inyan Shnei Shurim, Levi Behelim Echad. There, in the Simon Beis, it's about 2 full Shurim in one Helim. When we stop at what the Shnei Chatzei Shurim, it's no Rafei. Arukh HaShulchan says, logically, it's the same thing should be with 2 Chatzei Shirs. Adrab, contrary. Chatzei Shir, Tzach Liyos HaYediyah Yosef Brua. For Chatzei Shir, you need to have greater clarity for it to be considered a Yediyah, maybe Shir Shalom, than you need for a full Shir. Shir Gamliel said, but so for Perak HaBoineh, Gamliel holds that Lam HaYediyah Klal Chatzei Shir, that Yediyah is never machalik by Chatzei Shir, because it's not a Yediyah Chashuba. The fact he became aware in the middle doesn't signify and interrupt a break from the first Helem, because you need to have a Yediyah Chashuba, significant knowledge, which means not a knowledge of a Chatzei Shir, a knowledge of Mulacha. V'im gelo kaimon kain, granted we don't hold a Gamliel. Become called Panei B'shita lo gria mishnei shurim. Nevertheless, it's obvious that it's no worse than 2 shurim that it's considered to be halim achas. Lamed Zayin. Amnam gam mehem echad ein chayiv elo kshahotzi reshus acher. Even when halim echad you're not chayiv unless you get out to another domain. Shein hefsek reshus acher ben chatzi zeh chatzi zeh. In which there is, I'm sorry, I'm reading that wrong. El kshahotzi reshus echad. Let's look at both the same reshus. There's no interruption of between this reshus and that reshus, between that half, this half, and that half. L'chein av shein tzmuchin chatzoim zeh lezeh. And therefore, even if they're not adjacent to each other, these 2 halves, come nevertheless, reshus echad nachin and one reshus, and that's enough. But if one is in this reshus yachid over here, and that is that reshus yachid over there, and in the middle is the reshus no, the other one the other way. Oh yeah, no, it was this reshus over here, and there was that reshus over here, and it was reshus yachid in the middle, right? Or vice versa. There's interruption of Rishus Rabbim between 2 Rishus Yachid. I raise a pot, so you're exempt. But the Rishus middle is a Rishus Rabbanan, Kekarmelis, that's not truly a hefsek. Leis lamba v'chai, because that's neutral to Raisa, and therefore you'd be liable, the 2 shim would join together. The bracket says if came like a Rambam Rabba, Loka by Rabba, then Loka Tamim Mokam Rabbam. Okay, so I guess it's Machlekes, and this is like Rabba the Rebbe, so what by Rabba the Talmidim. Lamaches, Hamotzi Pachas Mikashir, somebody takes out less than a shear. If it called the machine Yak, and before it put it down, Nitpach, it got bloated. The Nasa Kashir, and became a shear. The Chain Hamotzi Bashir, Kashir, somebody took out something which was a shear. The Kol Shiniach, and before it put it down, Nitznamek, it shriveled. The Nasa Pachas Mikashir, it's less than a shear, in both cases, Potter. Because you're lacking full shear even when you picked up the object when you put it down. I feel the other shear, and even they both had a shear. But the middle got ruined. Shear, such as they took out proper shear, and the stamp got shriveled. Before you put it down, it bloated again. It's not clear if you're chayiv or not. The shema bein shear mitchilas v'tzofa, maybe the shear from beginning to end. It's not like the parameters of shoying, where you have a carbon. If you're shoying at the beginning and shoying at the end, Abi Shem amazing, even in the middle you were amazing. Mosh Kosav the Reish Sim Reish Men Beis. The Lev's there before Shmona Ayin Shal. As Gemara specifies. Come Kamach Yesh Safek. There is a Safek here. Shem Yesh Dichul Eitzel Shabbos. Maybe once it's gotten too small in the middle, it's already rejected from the parameters of Hilchot Shabbos. And in other words, it's too small. It flew under the radar, so to speak. The Shema came in the shear. It's in shear diminished. It was eliminated from its place in the potential halachas of chiyuv and Shabbos. What is like mitzvah, like things which are down for a mitzvah, can't lose their status if in the middle somehow they are no longer suitable for the mitzvah. I am much to this in Pehes. If Tazayin, the Medina say Shchilu ben Shabbos Shar Yisrael, there may be differences between Shabbos and other prohibitions in this regard. Lamatas, Samotzi Kurugeres Lachil, somebody takes out the size of a fig to eat. But some Kukar Melcha, and it's shriveled before you put it down. The Chashvel Azu, and you change it, I say, okay, since it's shriveled, I'll use it to plant or lefor or to heal. Shein Tzarech Shear, which doesn't require shear, and I raise a chayiv. The chayiv in this case, came with Shabakir Anocha issue. In this case, both the time Akira and the time Anocha, both the time picked it up, put it down, there is an obligation. I've got Shava Machshav Sadlani, even though the quality of the obligation changed, because the thought changed. The chain came with the Yitzhak Machshavas Yusham, since you don't need the thoughts to be congruent. Because Gam Lukulakano is also true to generate leniency. Let's say he took it less than a shear for the purpose of Zriya, for the purpose of planting. Chayiv, which would make you liable. But before you put it down, you thought, you know what, I'm going to eat it? The parts are exempt. It's missing a shear according to his thought of at the time he placed it down. But if he picked it up with the intent of planting it, so it's a kosher, which is the shear, and then later on it bloated, and he changed mind decided to make it for achila, then you had chiyim on both, and you're chayiv. Shegam ima shose, because even he was sorry of lo chashiv achila, and he didn't think to have it to eat. On the first thought, certainly now on the second thought, where it's that shear. I am brackets. I am more taigav. Manav Ramasham. Kasa the nases kashir kodem shimolech olel achila. I am sham. It becomes like the shear before you thought about it to eat. Look at how avaktzatz man shaloni schai bebira. Because otherwise there'd be some time in the middle when you're not clearly chayav, right? And so it has to be you change your mind to achila before it bloated. I'm sorry, they became the shear of achila before you had the thought of achila, because otherwise there would be some gap in the middle. Look at it, which would be make it doubtful, the same like we wrote in the previous sif v'duk. Mem, the Gemara nishar b'safek. The Gemara is not clear. B'zor kazayis truma bayis tomei. You tossed a kazayis of truma into a tomei house. V'yusham ochlin pachas mikabetza, and there was food there which is less than the size of a kabetza. The zeh shir truma bayichlin, that's the minimum size of shir of food. The zeh kazayis, which is smaller than a grogeres, he started a kabetza, now made up a kabetza of ochlim. Miyamina, do we say kim is started in the tumah, since it makes a new halacha in terms of tumah? You start from the Shabbos. It also makes you liable in terms of Shabbos because it's significance. Ultimately, say the Shabbos progress. When you say Shabbos, no tricks. I see the size of it. The Davka Zarg, and specifically when he threw it, Dash the Isser Shabbos tumah by the Adayika Asina. That the Isser Shabbos and the Isser tumah come together. The Yamin Shabbos ain't no chai bezrikat shinua, because the Shabbos also not liable when you throw it, only when it rests. But if you took it in with your hand, opposed to throwing it in, you're definitely not going to be chayiv. Because the Lian Shabbos nasachim miyad, and Shabbos you're chayiv immediately when you go into the house. Because when you stood there inside the house, it's as if you put down the object. In terms of tumah, it's not a kibetza until it's next to the other food. The is also specifically kazayis of truma, pochas mi kazayis, less of kazayis, alpha b'shishin kibetza. Even though less than that was enough to make it a kibetza, since it's not chashuv. There's no prohibition on less of kazayis to eat it when you're a tamei. Low mitzvah in Shabbos, it's not mitzvah in Shabbos either. It has to have some minimum significance in and of itself. And kazayis chulin mahani. And also there's kazayis of chulin doesn't work. There's an isser b'achilas chulin b'tumah, because there is no prohibition to eat chulin b'tumah, so therefore, less than a kazayis is not significant. As we shall see tomorrow, there's a different shot in the Rambam.